Welcome to the channel. The Black Liturgy. Today's story brings us to the year 1893, and it follows Bella Adams, a brown-eyed girl so remarkable that not even those who controlled her existence could explain her capabilities. What her mind contained defied all logic, terrified the powerful, and unveiled a truth never meant to emerge. This is more than a slavery narrative. It is a story the establishment tried to erase. This account is heavy, intense. Pause, take a breath, and listen carefully. Before we start, subscribe and comment with your city and country. Every voice ensures these forgotten lives are remembered, not buried. Stay until the end. What transpired with Bella poses a question that remains unanswered. Let's begin. On a rain-soaked September evening in 1893, a telegram reached Philadelphia General Hospital, sent by a country doctor in rural Delaware who had witnessed something inexplicable, something he did not expect anyone to believe. For 31 years, Dr. William Cross had practiced medicine in small towns, where people entrusted him with their lives and their secrets. He was not a man to send urgent messages to city hospitals claiming miracles. Yet that September night, his hands shook as he wrote the words that would change everything. He described a colored girl, about 9 years old, daughter of a washerwoman in Millbrook. She had entered his clinic while he examined a farmer complaining of chest pain. The girl watched silently for less than a minute, then tugged Dr. Cross's sleeve and whispered something that chilled his blood. She said the farmer did not have indigestion, as he claimed. His left arm had ached for 3 days, his jaw hurt climbing stairs, and a blue tint around his fingernails meant his heart was failing. If he did not lie down immediately and stop moving, he would die within the hour. Dr. Cross examined the farmer more carefully. The fingernails, pale blue, visible only if you knew to look. He asked about the arm pain. The farmer admitted yes, it had bothered him, but he thought he'd slept wrong. The jaw pain when climbing stairs. Yes, that too. But he was getting older. Wasn't that normal? Dr. Cross made the farmer lie on the examination table and sent for help. The farmer survived a massive heart attack, but only because a 9-year-old colored girl had seen what a trained physician missed. "How did you know?" Dr. Cross asked her afterward, his voice trembling. The child's answer haunted him enough to send that telegram. "I read about it in a medical book, sir. The signs of heart failure. I remember everything I read, and I can see things that don't match what should be there." His heart didn't match a healthy heart. The pattern was wrong. Dr. Cross asked what medical book she could possibly have read. She was colored, presumably illiterate, daughter of a washerwoman who could not afford books. The girl's answer was simple. Decker, Harrison left his medical textbooks open on his desk when I cleaned his office with my mama. I looked at the pages while she worked. I remember all of them. Every page, every word, every picture. Dr. Cross did not believe her. He tested her, pulling medical texts from his own shelf, opening random pages, asking her to read passages she'd never seen. She read them flawlessly, then recited them back an hour later without error. He showed her anatomical diagrams, and she identified every structure, bone, and organ using proper Latin terms. He described symptoms, and she suggested diagnoses that were accurate, sometimes more accurate than his own. She was 9. She had never attended school. She had learned to read by watching through windows and studying discarded newspapers, and she understood medicine at a level surpassing most physicians he knew. Dr. Cross ended his telegram with a plea. "I don't know what to do with this child. She has a gift I cannot explain and cannot ignore. Someone with more resources must examine her, understand her, help her become whatever she is capable of becoming. Please advise." The telegram reached Dr. James Whitfield, head of Philadelphia General Hospital's Department of Internal Medicine, a man known for his curiosity about unusual cases. He read it 3 times, folded it carefully, and placed it in his desk drawer. He thought for 2 days. On the 3rd, he boarded a train to Delaware. Millbrook in 1893 was the kind of place meant to be forgotten. 200 people, mostly farmers and their workers, living in wooden houses leaning in the wind. The colored population lived on the east side, in small homes near the creek that flooded every spring. Dr. Whitfield found the address, a narrow house with a sagging porch and windows covered with flour sack curtains. He knocked, feeling neighbors' eyes watching from porches, wondering why a well-dressed white man was there. The woman who answered was perhaps 30, her face weary from hard labor and constant worry. She wore a faded dress, an apron still damp from washing. Her hands were rough and red, hands that spent days in other people's laundry. "Can I help you, sir?" Her voice held the careful neutrality colored people used with white strangers. Not welcoming, not hostile, just cautious. "I'm Dr. James Whitfield from Philadelphia. I received a message from Dr. Cross about your daughter. Is she here?" Something shifted in her expression. Fear, perhaps, or resignation. She didn't ask about the message. She stepped aside and opened the door wider. "Bella," she called into the dim interior. "Come here, please." A girl emerged from the shadows, and Whitfield caught his breath. She was small for 9, thin in a way that spoke of missed meals. Her skin was dark brown, her hair in 2 neat braids. But her eyes, brown, ordinary in color, held something extraordinary in their depth. They looked at him with an intensity that made him feel examined, as if she were reading him the way she read medical texts, absorbing every detail. "Good afternoon, sir." Her voice was soft but steady. "You're here about what happened with Mr. Patterson, the farmer with the heart trouble?" "Yes. Dr. Cross told me what you did. Can you explain how you knew what was wrong with him?" Bella glanced at her mother, who nodded slightly, though her expression wished she could say no. "I saw the signs, sir. The things that meant his heart wasn't working right. The color of his fingernails. The way he held his left arm. The small movements when he breathed, like it hurt, but he didn't want to admit it. And I remembered what the medical book said. When you see them together, the heart is failing and the person could die. But you're 9. How can you understand medical texts written for physicians?" "I don't know, sir. I just read them and remember. And when I see sick people, I match what I see to what I read. It's like the books put pictures in my head, and I see the same pictures in real life." "Is that wrong, sir?" Wrong wasn't the word Whitfield would choose. Impossible, miraculous, terrifying. But wrong suggested moral judgment, and there was nothing immoral about a child being extraordinary. For the next 3 hours, in that cramped house, smelling of lye soap and poverty, James Whitfield conducted the most important examination of his career. He started with basic anatomy questions, expecting to find limits. There were none. She described the human heart in detail, matching his medical school education. She explained circulatory, respiratory, nervous systems. She used Latin correctly, understood what it meant. She didn't just memorize, she comprehended. He moved to diagnosis, describing symptoms. She provided differential diagnoses that were thorough and accurate. When he described a confusing case from the previous week, one that took his team 3 days to solve, Bella suggested the correct diagnosis in minutes, explaining her reasoning with clear understanding. "How is this possible?" he finally asked, the question as much to the universe as to the girl. "I don't know, sir. Mama says God gave me a gift, but I think my brain works different. I read something, and it stays forever. Every word. Picture idea. My brain keeps working on it, connecting things, seeing patterns. I can't make it stop. Even when I try to forget, I can't. It's all in there, all the time. Whitfield looked at the mother, who had stood silently by the door. Has she always been like this? Since she was 3, sir. She picked up a thrown-away newspaper and started reading it aloud. I thought she was pretending, making up sounds. But she was really reading. She learned by watching. Through windows, watching children in school, she taught herself. I don't know how. What's her full name? Isabella Grace Adams, sir. But everyone calls her Bella. Messes. Adams, your daughter has abilities I've never encountered. She understands medicine at a level exceptional for a physician with decades of training. In a 9-year-old with no formal education, it's unprecedented. I need to study her further. I need to understand her mind. I need to help her develop properly. You want to take her away? The fear in her voice was sharp. No, not unless you agree. But I want to bring her to Philadelphia with your permission. To examine her more and begin educating her properly. She shouldn't be cleaning offices and reading stolen glances at textbooks. She should be in medical school. She's 9, colored, and female. No medical school in this country would accept her, sir. Perhaps not officially. But there are other ways. Private instruction, access to libraries and laboratories, mentorship. I can provide these if you allow it. Why would you do this, sir? Why would a white doctor from Philadelphia care about a colored girl in Delaware? Whitfield considered carefully. Because I became a doctor to understand the human body and heal the sick. Your daughter represents something I cannot understand. Something challenging, everything I thought I knew about the mind's limits. If I ignore her, I've failed as a scientist and a physician. More than that, she has a gift that could save lives, people who would die because their doctors missed what Bella could see. How can I walk away? Grace Adams studied him. You're not lying. I don't think you are. But sir, you need to understand. Men have made promises to people like us before. They said they wanted to help, then used us for their purposes, experimented on us, displayed us like circus animals. I won't let that happen to my daughter. I won't let anyone turn her into a specimen. If you want to truly help her, promise me she stays with me. Promise she never becomes property, an exhibit, a thing instead of a person. Can you promise that? I can promise to try. That's the honest answer. I can't control the world, but I can control what I do. I promise you, Mrs. Adams, that as long as I have any power, your daughter will be treated as a human being with extraordinary gifts. Not a curiosity or a threat. Grace Adams looked at her daughter, at this strange, miraculous child who saw patterns others couldn't perceive. Bella, baby, what do you want? Bella answered without hesitation. I want to learn, Mama. I want to read more books and understand more. The medicine I know is like a tiny piece of something huge. I can feel how much more there is. It's like being thirsty, seeing an ocean, but only allowed one drop. I want the whole ocean, Mama. I want to know everything. How could a mother say no? How could anyone valuing knowledge and potential deny a mind burning with such hunger? All right, Grace Adams said finally. But I'm coming with her. Wherever she goes, I go. That's not negotiable. Agreed. Whitfield stood, extending his hand to shake, then remembering social barriers, lowered it awkwardly. Can you be ready for Philadelphia within the week? We'll be ready, sir. And so began the journey that would take Bella Adams from a forgotten Delaware town into the center of a medical controversy, challenging everything white America believed about race and intelligence. a journey demanding a terrible price from all involved. Philadelphia in 1893 was America's second largest city, a place of contrasts. Grand mansions stood blocks from desperate slums. The wealthy attended concerts, the poor worked 14-hour days in factories. At its heart, Philadelphia General Hospital trained doctors and conducted research shaping American medicine. Whitfield arranged for Grace and Bella to stay in a boarding house in the colored section, run by a widow, Mrs. Elena Thompson, who asked no questions when a white doctor paid for a washerwoman and her child. The money was good, and Mrs. Thompson had learned not to question reliable payments. For 2 weeks, Whitfield tested Bella extensively, documenting her abilities with scientific precision. He confirmed her photographic memory, her comprehension, her diagnostic accuracy, exceeding 90%, better than most physicians. He brought trusted colleagues to verify. They were skeptical. A colored child with physician-level knowledge seemed impossible, a hoax. But one by one, they examined her and were shaken. Dr. Edward Marsh, anatomy professor at the University of Pennsylvania Medical School, questioned Bella for 4 hours. Afterward, he sat in silence. "James, this is the most remarkable thing I've witnessed. This child knows anatomy better than half my students. Real understanding. She corrected me twice on points I had wrong. She corrected me. Can you imagine what she could become with training? I can imagine. That's why I brought her. The question is whether the world will let her become anything." Dr. Robert Sullivan, a heart specialist, examined her understanding of cardiac medicine. He emerged pale. "She described a case I saw last month, a patient with unusual heart valve disease. She'd never seen the patient, never heard me discuss it. When I described symptoms, she identified the condition immediately, suggested a treatment I hadn't considered. I checked the literature. Her suggestion was sound. If I'd thought of it, the patient might have recovered faster." He wrestled with his words. "James, I don't understand. Everything I was taught about racial differences says this child shouldn't exist. But she does. She knows more about cardiac medicine than physicians who trained for years." "What does that mean?" "It means what you were taught was wrong. Completely wrong. Intelligence doesn't care about skin color. It never did. We told ourselves it did because it was convenient. Bella Adams proves the lie. The question is whether anyone will believe her or explain her away." As word spread, responses varied. Some physicians wanted to verify. Some dismissed it as a hoax. Some saw Bella as a threat. Dr. Cornelius Webb was among the latter. At 56, a psychiatry professor at Jefferson Medical College, he was a respected voice in racial science. For decades, he'd built theories of biological racial differences, using skull measurements and brain studies to argue Negro intellectual inferiority was natural law. His work was cited in segregation legal decisions, political arguments against Negro education, papers treating white supremacy as fact. Now a 9-year-old colored girl threatened to demolish it. Webb first heard of Bella from a colleague who described her abilities with awe and confusion. Webb listened with alarm. This claim was dangerous. If allowed, it would give ammunition to integrationists, suggest decades of research was wrong, undermine segregation's foundations. He wrote to Whitfield, requesting to examine the child. Polite, professional, framed as scientific curiosity, wanting to verify claims, ensure proper methodology, protect the medical community from potential fraud. Whitfield knew the danger. He'd read Webb's publications, knew his agenda. Allowing Webb to examine Bella was like inviting a wolf to evaluate a lamb. But refusing would create problems. Webb was influential, could damage Whitfield's reputation. There was strategy, too. If Webb examined Bella and acknowledged her abilities, it would carry weight. A prominent racial theorist admitting a colored child had extraordinary intelligence would devastate his framework. Would he admit it, or dismiss what he saw? Whitfield consulted Grace. He explained in her boarding house room, while Bella read a medical journal in the corner. A doctor wants to examine Bella, one whose career is built on proving colored people are intellectually inferior. If I let him see her, he might try to discredit her, explain away her abilities. He might be hostile, humiliating. But if I refuse, he'll claim we're hiding something, that it's fraudulent. He has influence to make that stick. What does Bella think? They looked at the girl, who had stopped reading and watched with perceptive brown eyes. I think he needs to see me, Bella said. If he doesn't, he'll say I'm not real. People will believe him because they want to. If he sees me and I show him what I can do, he has to either admit truth or lie. If he lies and I prove it, everyone will know he's a liar. That's not nothing. You understand he might be cruel. Say terrible things, try to make you feel worthless. People like him believe in their bones you're inferior. Confronting proof they're wrong makes them angry, sometimes dangerous. Bella's expression didn't change. Sir, I've been colored my whole life. I know what people think. I hear whispers. See them cross streets. I've been called names Mama won't repeat. Told I'm worth less than dirt under white people's feet. One more man thinking that won't break me. But if I can make him look stupid in front of others, make him wrong so obviously everyone sees, that might change something. She was 9. She shouldn't have to think like this, strategize confronting racism like a general planning battle. But this was her world, and she'd clearly thought about it longer than anyone realized. All right, Whitfield said. I'll arrange it, but I'll be present, establish rules. He can test your abilities, but not degrade you. He can ask questions, but not interrogate. If you want to stop, we stop. I won't let him hurt you. You can't promise that, Bella said quietly. Nobody can, but I appreciate you trying. The examination was scheduled for October 15, 1893, at Philadelphia General Hospital. Whitfield chose a large lecture hall, reasoning witnesses provided protection. He invited a dozen trusted physicians who had verified Bella's abilities as counterweights to Webb's hostility. He sent Webb a formal letter outlining conditions, framed in scientific methodology. And he prayed, though not religious, that he wasn't leading a child to slaughter. October 15 dawned gray and cold. Bella woke early, ate breakfast, dressed in her best mended blue dress. Grace braided her hair carefully, hands shaking. You don't have to do this, baby. We can leave, go back to Delaware. Forget this happened. Bella met her mother's eyes in the mirror. And spend my life cleaning houses and reading through windows. No, Mama. Whatever happens, at least I tried. At least I didn't run. They arrived at 900, entering a side door to avoid stairs. Whitfield met them in his office, face tense. Grace, Bella, thank you. Before we begin, it's in the main lecture hall. Dr. Webb leads questioning, but I'll be there with other physicians. If uncomfortable, if Webb becomes abusive, signal me and I'll end it. Bella nodded. What questions? I don't know exactly. Probably testing medical knowledge and reasoning. But Webb may ask questions to humiliate you, use complicated terms, reference obscure conditions, try to trick you. I'm not worried about medical questions. I know what I know. I'm worried he won't accept any answer, no matter how correct. Some people don't want truth. They want to prove what they already believe. You're right. But this isn't about convincing Webb. He's probably not convincible. It's about others in the room, physicians watching, those undecided. Show them clearly what you can do, And Webb's opinion won't matter. They'll know truth even if he denies it. Bella considered. So I'm not trying to beat him. I'm trying to win everybody else. Exactly. Webb is the opponent you face. The audience is the prize. Make them believe you, and Webb becomes irrelevant. It was sophisticated strategy for a 9-year-old. Bella nodded, understanding what was at stake. She took her mother's hand, squeezed it. I'm ready. The lecture hall was smaller than hoped, seats filled with more physicians than expected. Word had spread. Doctors curious about the colored child, who supposedly knew medicine better than they did, attended uninvited. Webb sat at a front table, flanked by 2 colleagues sharing his views. He was large, well-fed, with a beard he stroked constantly and cold, calculating eyes. When Bella entered, those eyes fixed on her with undisguised contempt. So this is the supposed prodigy. Webb's voice carried. She looks like an ordinary Negro child to me. Dr. Webb, Whitfield said firmly. Maintain professional decorum. We're here for scientific examination, not insults. Of course. Webb smiled, eyes unreached. I merely observe. Shall we begin? Bella was directed to a chair at the room's center, impossibly small, surrounded by rows of white men who would decide if her mind deserved recognition or dismissal. Webb opened a leather folder, withdrew papers. Start with basics. Can you read, girl? Yes, sir. Who taught you? I taught myself. Sir. You expect us to believe you taught yourself with no instruction? I don't expect anything, sir. You asked. I answered truthfully. What you believe is up to you. A slight murmur. A 9-year-old parried condescension with calm logic. Webb's eyes narrowed. Test that claim. He handed her a medical textbook, open randomly. Read this passage. Bella looked. ACER, the clinical presentation of typhoid fever includes a step-wise fever pattern, rose spots on the abdomen, relative bradycardia, and hepatosplenomegaly. Diagnosis is confirmed through blood culture or Whittle test. Treatment focuses on supportive care and management of complications, including intestinal perforation and hemorrhage. She read without hesitation, pronouncing every term correctly, voice steady. Now close your eyes and recite. Bella closed her eyes. See, the clinical presentation of typhoid fever includes a step-wise fever pattern, word for word, no error. Webb's expression didn't change, but something flickered. Memorization tricks. Colored performers do parlor tricks for decades. This proves nothing about genuine intelligence. Then test my intelligence, sir. Give me a problem to solve, not just memorize. Ask me to think. Physicians shifted. Bella challenged Webb directly, forcing him to escalate or admit fear. Very well. Webb withdrew a different paper. A patient presents with severe abdominal pain, fever, vomiting. Exam reveals rebound tenderness and guarding. Diagnosis and recommendation. Bella thought 5 seconds. Symptoms suggest peritonitis from ruptured appendix. Given acute presentation, recommend immediate surgical consultation. Delay increases mortality significantly. Infection can spread cause sepsis. Speed is essential. Webb glanced at colleagues. They nodded. Correct, but simple. Any medical student could conclude that. Then give me a hard one, sir. The directness flushed Webb's face. He wasn't used to being pushed, especially by a colored child. He shuffled papers, selected a case to stump her. A 45-year-old man presents with progressive weakness over months, difficulty swallowing, double vision worsening through the day, drooping eyelids. Exam shows no sensory deficits. Diagnosis. The room fell silent. Not a simple case. A rare disorder many physicians struggled to identify, only recently characterized. Bella's eyes went distant, searching her mind's library, matching patterns. Progressive weakness with no sensory involvement suggests a neuromuscular junction problem, not nerves themselves. Double vision and ptosis worsening through the day indicate muscle fatigability. Difficulty swallowing suggests bulbar muscle involvement. This pattern matches myasthenia gravis, impaired nerve, muscle transmission. Webb stared. The room was silent. She was right. Not just right, but demonstrating genuine neurological understanding, reasoned diagnosis. How do you know myasthenia gravis? Only formally described a few years ago. I read Dr. Jolly's paper from 1895. She stopped. No, wait. That's wrong. Jolly's paper isn't published yet. I read about matching cases in older literature. Recognized the syndrome. The formal name I must have seen elsewhere. Maybe Dr. Herb's work. Every physician understood. She'd correctly diagnosed a rare condition, demonstrated awareness of current literature so current. She knew unpublished research. Caught her own error about dates. Showing active, self-monitoring knowledge, not passive memorization. This proves nothing. Webb said, voice losing confidence. She's been coached, trained to recognize conditions, recite prepared answers. Performance, not intelligence. If I've been coached, Bella said quietly. Ask me something no one could prepare me for. Describe a patient you saw recently. One you haven't discussed. Let me try to understand what was wrong. The challenge hung. Webb was trapped. Refuse, he looked afraid. Accept, and she succeeded. His coaching argument collapsed. Very well. Webb's voice was tight. 3 weeks ago I examined a patient, middle-aged woman, joint pain, skin rashes, kidney dysfunction, episodes of confusion. He described clinical detail, watching for uncertainty. Bella concentrated. That distant look matching patterns. Joint pain and skin findings, particularly a butterfly-shaped facial rash, combined with kidney involvement and neurological symptoms, suggests systemic lupus erythematosus. Autoimmune. Body attacks itself. Confusion could be from lupus affecting the brain or kidney failure affecting mental function. The rash. Webb stopped, face pale. I didn't mention a rash. You said skin findings, sir. Reading case studies, patients with this constellation and skin involvement often have a specific facial rash. I assumed you observed it. Did you? Webb didn't answer. Silence told everyone yes. The patient had a facial rash. Bella deduced a symptom he hadn't mentioned based on disease pattern understanding. Whitfield leaned forward. Dr. Webb, does Bella's diagnosis match your conclusion? Webb's voice barely audible. Diagnosis confirmed. Patient has lupus. The room erupted in murmurs. Physicians turned to each other, reacting. A 9-year-old colored girl matched a senior physician's diagnosis on a complex case, identified an unmentioned symptom, demonstrating understanding beyond memorization or coaching. She was thinking about medicine at a level exceeding most medical students after years of training. Webb stood abruptly, chair scraping. This proves nothing. One lucky guess doesn't demonstrate intelligence. Thousands of diseases, millions of symptom combinations. Any trained performer gives plausible answers to common questions. Entertaining trick, nothing more. Seer, Bella said, cutting through bluster. If I'm doing tricks, find holes in my knowledge. Ask something obscure, something you think I couldn't know. I'll answer correctly or not. If I can't, you're right, I'm a fraud. If I can, maybe consider you're wrong about me and people who look like me. The directness, simple logic enraged Webb beyond words. Face purpling, hands clenched, he said something changing Bella's life trajectory. This child is mentally abnormal. Her supposed abilities, if exist, are symptoms of a diseased brain, not genuine intelligence. I've seen this in Negro subjects. Aberrant development producing isolated skills at cost of mental stability. She should be studied in a proper facility, not paraded like a circus attraction. What are you suggesting? Whitfield demanded, rising. Psychiatric evaluation. Her condition requires proper scientific investigation in a controlled environment. Leaving her unsupervised with her inadequate mother risks child and public. He turned to the room. Gentlemen, we have responsibility to science and society. If she possesses unusual mental abilities, we must understand properly. If abilities are pathology symptoms, we must protect her from exploitation and public from danger. I recommend placement in an institution for extended observation. Whitfield moved protectively toward Bella. You can't be serious. Institutionalize a child because she's smarter than you. Protect a potentially dangerous aberration. History of Negro mental instability. This child's unusual presentation may indicate. He never finished. Grace Adams, silent at the back, pushed through the crowd, placed herself between Webb and her daughter. You will not touch my child. Voice shook with fury and fear. I don't care about your letters or books. Bella is my daughter. I'll die before I let you lock her up. Poke at her like an animal? Ma'am, Webb said with exaggerated patience. You don't understand scientific importance. I understand you looked at a little girl who proved she's smarter than you, and your first thought was to lock her away so no one admits you're wrong. I understand perfectly. Chaos descended. Physicians argued, some supporting Webb, others outraged. Whitfield tried restoring order while protecting Bella and Grace. In the middle, Bella sat quietly, watching with brown eyes, seeing too much, understanding this was only the beginning. Men like Webb wouldn't stop with one failed, discredited attempt. Her extraordinary mind made her a target. She'd fight for her right to exist the rest of her life. The examination ended without resolution. No formal institutionalization recommendation, largely because Whitfield and allies threatened going public if Webb pursued it. But battle lines were drawn. Webb left determined to neutralize Bella's threat. He'd find a way. Men like Webb always found ways to destroy what they couldn't accept. It took 3 months. When he moved, Whitfield, Grace, Bella wouldn't see it coming until too late. The 3 months post-examination were Bella's calmest for years. Whitfield arranged private education. Physicians taught her despite social complications. She devoured medical knowledge, reading textbooks for older students, observing surgeries behind screens, learning practical skills, transforming theory into healing. Grace worked as a seamstress in Philadelphia's colored section, supplementing Whitfield's support. Bella grew confident, becoming something neither dared imagine. For brief months, maybe the world would let her become capable. But Dr. Cornelius Webb hadn't forgotten. He hadn't accepted humiliation, spent 3 months building a case to destroy Bella completely. On January 8, 1894, Webb published an article in the American Journal of Psychiatry, Aberrant Mental Development in Negro Subjects, a case study in pathological savantism. It described Bella without naming her. Subject B, female Negro child, approximately 9. It acknowledged apparent abilities while reframing them. According to Webb, her memory and medical knowledge weren't intelligent signs, but severe mental disorder symptoms. He compared her to savant syndrome cases, remarkable feats with profound disabilities elsewhere. He argued abilities disconnected from true reasoning, parlor tricks from a malformed brain. The article went further. Webb claimed subjects like Bella were inherently unstable, prone to violent outbursts, delusional thinking. He cited fabricated observations from the examination, claiming aggression and paranoia signs he'd documented. He concluded such individuals were dangerous, requiring confinement for study and prevention of harm. The article was devastating because published in a respected medical journal, it became official record. Future physicians would read Webb's assessment as fact. Bella would be defined by supposed pathology, not abilities. Whitfield learned 3 days post-publication when a colleague showed him a copy with sympathy. He read with horror. This wasn't science. It was assassination, deliberate reputation destruction, justifying Webb's next actions. He went immediately to warn Grace and Bella, but too late. The men came at 4:00 a.m., January 12, 1894. 4 large, efficient men with papers signed by a judge declaring Bella Adams a danger, subject to immediate commitment to Pennsylvania State Hospital for the insane. Grace woke to the door breaking. She threw herself between men and Bella's bed, screaming, fighting, biting, scratching. They knocked her aside. One held her down while others grabbed Bella, half asleep, confused, crying for her mother. "Mama, what's happening?" "It's all right, baby." Grace lied, struggling. "It's going to be all right. Don't fight them. Don't give excuse to hurt you. Mama will find you. Mama will come. I promise." They carried Bella into freezing January night, barefoot in nightgown, screams echoing through the boarding house, as residents watched from doorways, afraid to intervene, knowing helping a colored child against white men with legal papers brought destruction. Mrs. Thompson helped Grace up after they left, held her sobbing. Grace's face bruised, wrists raw from struggling. Physical pain nothing compared to knowing her daughter taken, powerless to stop. "They took her. They took my baby." "I know, honey. I know."
"What do I do?"
"How get her back? I don't know, but we'll figure out. Find someone to help." Grace thought of Whitfield, the white doctor who promised protection. She'd trusted him, believed promises. Now her daughter gone, taken like a criminal, property, less than human. She'd find Whitfield, demand answers. If he couldn't help, find another way. Grace Adams made a promise to her daughter. She intended to keep it no matter cost. Pennsylvania State Hospital for the Insane sprawled across 600 acres west of Philadelphia. Gothic buildings like a medieval fortress, built 50 years earlier with noble Kirkbride plan intentions. Architecture curing mental illness. Decades of overcrowding, underfunding, neglect transformed it darker. Patients warehoused, violent chained, difficult sedated. Those entering rarely left except in coffins. Bella arrived in a locked wagon, still in nightgown, barefoot, feet numb from cold. She'd stopped crying during journey, mind working through terror, understanding, surviving. She knew about this place, read about asylums in medical texts, treatments, conditions. Knowledge should terrify more than ignorance. Instead, gave something to hold. Information was power, understanding survival. If she knew what they might do, she could prepare, endure. They processed her like cargo, assigning a number instead of name, recording weight, height, age in a ledger with thousands of entries. They cut her hair short, easier cleaning where bathing infrequent, dressed her in a gray institutional gown hanging like a sack. Put her in a room on the colored ward, section reserved for Negro patients, segregated like outside world. The room small, 8 by 8 feet, narrow bed bolted to floor, bucket and corner for waste, single barred window, no heat, stone walls cold, damp, door locked outside. Bella sat on bed, knees to chest, began reciting medical texts in her head. Only way to stay sane, remind herself she was more than what they saw. Not crazy, not dangerous. A girl with a gift, locked away because gift frightened them. She would survive, find a way out, someday make them pay. Dr. Webb arrived 2 days after commitment. He'd arranged everything. Legal papers, seizure, placement far from Philadelphia, making visits difficult. Now came to see his prize, begin studying this aberration, explain away abilities. Bella brought to an examination room, wrists bound with leather straps, ankles shackled. She hadn't slept in 2 days, hadn't eaten slop called food, cold, exhausted, terrified. But seeing Webb, something rose through fear. Hatred, pure, focused, patient. Hatred smoldering, slow, steady, waiting for moment. "Hello, Subject B." Webb's voice pleasant, almost friendly. "Sorry for unpleasant circumstances, but your condition requires careful management." "I don't have a condition. I'm not crazy. You put me here because I embarrassed you." Paranoid, thinking exactly why you need treatment. Webb made a note. Delusions of persecution. Inability to recognize own pathology. Classic symptoms described in my paper. You lied in that paper, made things up. I never showed aggression or paranoia. You invented them because needed true. The Webb's pleasant expression unchanged. Unfortunately, ravings of a mentally disturbed child carry little weight against professional observations of a trained physician. No one will believe you. No one will listen. You'll disappear here, Subject B. I'll study until understanding how defective brain produces tricks. Then publish findings, prove once for all Negro intelligence a contradiction. Over following weeks, Webb subjected Bella to tests and procedures, some legitimate medical exams, measuring skull, testing reflexes, documenting physical characteristics. Others designed purely to break her, keep her awake days, then test memory and reasoning, hoping exhaustion degraded abilities. Present problems while subjecting to painful stimuli, electric shocks, ice baths, hours in stress positions. Trying to prove gifts fragile, easily disrupted pathology signs. Bella endured. No choice. Gave him nothing, refusing to perform when he wanted, answering monosyllables. Retreating into mind when external world unbearable. She recited medical texts in head during worst procedures, using familiar words as anchor. Reminder she was still herself. And she watched. Learned hospital rhythms. Which guards lazy, which cruel, which nurses sympathetic, which indifferent. Memorized schedules, cataloged weaknesses, built mental map more detailed than any diagram. Bella Adams wasn't just surviving, she was planning, waiting. When moment came, she'd be ready. Grace Adams spent first week post-abduction in grief and rage fog. She went to Whitfield, horrified but paralyzed by legal complexity. Commitment papers in order. Webb followed procedure. Challenging required proving Bella not mentally ill, requiring physician examinations Webb made nearly impossible. She went to lawyers. None would take a colored woman's case, trying to free child from mental institution. Law clears her physician's authority to commit dangerous patients. Courts deferred to medical judgment. Unless proving fraud or corruption, nothing done. She went to newspapers, hoping public attention force hospital release. Editors uninterested in colored children in asylums stories. Made readers uncomfortable. Didn't sell papers. After 2 weeks hitting walls, Grace stopped trying to work within system. System took daughter, system wouldn't give back. So Grace would go around, through over system, whatever took. She started getting a job at the hospital. Applied as cleaning woman, using different name, presenting as Delaware widow seeking steady work. Hospital always short-staffed, always looking for colored women willing dirty jobs white workers refused. Hired without scrutiny, assigned colored wards. Suddenly Grace Adams inside walls holding daughter. Finding Bella took 3 days. Hospital vast, records disorganized, patients numerous, often moved ward to ward without documentation. But Grace searched methodically, checking every assigned ward, asking careful questions of nurses and orderlies, building picture. 3rd day found her. Bella in a room on east wing of colored female ward, section for problematic patients needing special observation. Grace couldn't approach directly. Guards, procedures, paperwork exposing identity. But could clean hallway outside Bella's room. Linger, mopping same floor section, waiting for moment no one watching. That moment came fourth night of work. Night guard asleep at station, nurses occupied with crisis other ward end. Grace moved to Bella's door, pressed face against barred window, whispered, "Bella, baby, it's Mama." Inside, figure stirred on narrow bed. Bella's face appeared at window, gaunt, exhausted, but alive, still recognizably daughter beneath institutional haircut, hollow cheeks.
Mama. Oh God, Mama, you found me. I promised I would.
"Baby, I promised I'd come." Bella started crying, silent tears streaming. "Mama, they hurt me. The doctor does things, shocks me, freezes me, won't let sleep. Says he'll prove I'm defective. Says he'll cut open my brain when done with experiments. I know, baby, I know. But I'll get you out. Take time, need figure how. But I'm here now. Not leaving without you. How? How possibly get me out? Don't know yet. But find way, find help. You just hold on. Can do that, baby. Hold on little longer." Bella's jaw tightened. Fierce intelligence defining her flickered in eyes. "Can hold on, Mama. Been watching, learning. Know things about this place. Might help." "Like what?" "Dr. Webb not just experimenting on me. Experiments on lots of patients, colored mostly. Takes them to basement room, does things. Some don't come back. Staff talks when think no one important listening. Call it special research program. Secret, not in official records. Think illegal." Grace's mind raced. If Webb conducting unauthorized experiments, evidence of illegal activity, might be leverage. Might bring him down, expose happening, force authorities intervene. Baby, find out more. Learn details without putting in danger. Mama, already in danger. At least this way, danger might be worth something. They talked few more minutes before Grace pulled away, hearing footsteps. But in those minutes, plan began forming. Grace gather evidence outside. Talk to patient families, document observations, build case. Bella gather evidence inside. Use remarkable memory record everything seen, heard. When enough, bring Webb down, expose doing. Make him pay for every moment of suffering. Following months, careful dance of survival and information gathering. Grace worked cleaning job, building staff relationships, learning hospital secrets. Discovered Webb's special research program running 3 years, using colored patients as subjects for experiments never approved if documented. Lobotomies without consent, drugs tested disregarding side effects, procedures studying pain and fear effects on mind. Hospital administrators knew but looked away. Webb brought funding, prestige. Patients surviving transferred distant institutions or released in conditions making testimony unreliable. Patients not surviving buried unmarked graves on grounds. Bella, meanwhile, survived Webb's continued examinations while documenting everything. Memorized names of patients taken to basement, noted dates, times, listened to staff conversations, recorded word for word in remarkable memory, building case one evidence piece at a time, waiting for moment could use. That moment came April 1894, 4 months after commitment. Grace contacted a journalist, Samuel Morrison, colored man writing for Philadelphia Negro Community newspaper. Morrison initially skeptical. Asylum abuse stories common, often exaggerated, difficult verify. But Grace brought something couldn't ignore, list of 47 names, patients entering Pennsylvania State Hospital, past 3 years, never seen again. Families receiving death notices, vague causes or no explanation. Colored men, women committed for minor conditions, vanished into Webb's special research program. Morrison investigated. Talked to families, checked records, found patterns confirming Grace and Bella discoveries. Patients committed under questionable circumstances, transfers never documented, deaths never properly investigated. Wrote article, submitted to editor. Editor afraid publish. White institution, respected physician. Powerful people not appreciating secrets exposed. Publishing bring trouble, lawsuits, possibly violence. Morrison argued, threatened take story other papers, invoked journalism responsibility, expose wrongdoing regardless consequences. Finally, reluctantly, editor agreed. Article appeared April 23, 1894. Named no names directly, careful avoid libel, but descriptions clear enough anyone familiar knowing accused. Described experiments without consent, patients disappearing, graves discovered grounds, pattern abuse hidden years. White newspapers ignored initially, but colored community didn't. Churches preached, community leaders demanded investigation, families missing patients came forward with stories. Pressure built until couldn't be ignored. May 5, 1894, Philadelphia District Attorney announced investigation into Pennsylvania state hospital practices. May 12, Dr. Cornelius Webb suspended pending investigation conclusion. May 15, James Whitfield arrived hospital with lawyer. Court order demanding Bella Adams' immediate release. Commitment papers obtained through fraud. Physician signing based false information Webb provided. Entire confinement basis illegitimate. Hospital administrator. Desperate distance institution growing scandal. Agreed release without fight. Wanted no further connection Webb or anything associated. Grace waited hospital gates when Bella walked out, blinking spring sunlight, thin, pale, but alive, still herself, still extraordinary. Mama, word came sob. Bella ran into mother's arms. Grace held daughter first time in 4 months, crying, laughing, promising never let go again. But even reunion moment, Bella's mind working. Webb suspended, not arrested. Investigation ongoing, but investigations manipulated, witnesses intimidated, evidence destroyed. Seen too much world workings, believe justice simply happen. If wanted, Webb truly pay for done, make happen herself. Cornelius Webb trial began September 1894, 8 months after Bella's release. Charges serious: assault, false imprisonment, medical experiments without consent, multiple manslaughter counts, patients dying during experiments. But Webb had resources, connections. Hired best lawyers, called favors powerful friends. Mounted defense attacking every witness credibility, dismissing every evidence piece, reframing case as respected scientist, persecution by ignorant mob. Bella Adams scheduled testify, trial's 3rd day. Webb's lawyers fought exclude testimony, arguing colored child's word untrustworthy, supposed mental illness made unreliable witness. But judge, influenced overwhelming public interest, allowed take stand. She entered courtroom, simple dress, mother maid, hair grown back enough, braided neatly, brown eyes calm, focused. Looked impossibly young, small, child-facing man who tormented. But when opened mouth, everyone courtroom understood why Webb desperate destroy her. Testified 6 hours. Described commitment, confinement conditions, experiments Webb performed. Provided dates, times, names, details no one coached remember because no one else access. When Webb's lawyers tried confuse rapid fire questions, answered each precisely, completely. When tried trip contradictory scenarios, identified contradictions, explained why didn't apply. When attacked credibility, calmly recited medical textbook passages about techniques Webb used, demonstrating understanding exceeding most physicians, making impossible dismiss mentally deficient. Most devastating moment, prosecutor asked describe witnessed hospital basement. Bella closed eyes moment, not needing remember, but painful speak aloud. Saw Dr. Webb perform surgery on Thomas Green. Mr. Green committed melancholia after wife died. Not violent, not dangerous, just sad. Webb cut open skull while conscious. Said wanted see what happened, touching different brain parts. Mr. Green screamed almost hour before stopped making sounds. Died 2 days later. Official cause heart failure. The courtroom silent, several jurors physically ill. Webb, first time trial began, looked afraid. she wasn't finished. Name 23 other patients witnessed experimented on. Described procedures, medical detail, verifying testimony, couldn't fabricated. Provided dates matching hospital records, names matching death certificates, details only someone present possibly know. When finished, Webb's lead lawyer requested recess. Needed consult client. Consultation lasted 4 hours. Court resumed. Webb changed plea guilty all counts. Sentence handed October 3, 1894. Cornelius Webb received 35 years prison. Medical license permanently revoked. Published works formally repudiated American Medical Association. Racial intelligence theories. Already wounded Bella's public demonstration abilities claimed impossible, thoroughly discredited. Died prison 12 years later, forgotten, disgraced. Life's work reduced cautionary tale prejudice corrupting science. But conviction not end Bella's story. Beginning. Months post-trial, Bella Adams became something never sought. Symbol. Cause. Living refutation. Everything white America believed colored capabilities. Newspapers ignored case, suddenly wanted interviews. Physicians dismissed Webb's examination, suddenly wanted study. Reformers fighting Negro rights suddenly wanted parade as evidence. Grace and Whitfield work protect worst attention, shielding exploitation while allowing continue education. Bella made clear not interested symbol. Wanted be doctor, heal people. Fame, attention meant nothing except tools helping achieve goal. Obstacles still enormous. No medical school America admit colored female student regardless abilities. But world changing slowly, grudgingly. Forced change, people like Bella refusing accept place predetermined skin color. 1896, age 12. Bella passed examination certifying medicine knowledge level equivalent licensed physicians. Examination unofficial, arranged Whitfield, administered panel physicians observed abilities years. Carried no legal weight, but documented, witnessed, entered record. Proof colored girl master medicine, well any white man. 1899, age 15, Bella began working alongside Whitfield, Philadelphia General Hospital. Role unofficial, unadvertised, carefully hidden objectors. Couldn't call doctor, couldn't treat patient's own authority, but observe, advise, assist. Physicians working quickly learned assessments more accurate than own. Diagnostic instincts sharper. Medicine understanding deeper. Saved lives quietly, anonymously, lives lost without gifts. 1905, age 21, Bella Adams finally received official recognition. Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania. Few institutions America training female physicians. Agreed admit provisional basis. Completed 4-year program 2 years. Graduating top class. First colored woman earned medical degree institution. Graduation ceremony small, private. Attended Grace, Whitfield, handful others supported journey. No newspaper photographers, no admiring crowds. World not ready celebrate colored female physician. But Bella didn't need celebration. Had wanted. Credentials practice medicine openly. Authority treat patient's own name. Power use extraordinary gifts without hiding, pretending. Dismissed trick, aberration. Doctor. Isabella Grace Adams practiced medicine Philadelphia next 47 years. Specialized diagnosis using remarkable memory, pattern recognition identify conditions other physicians missed. Patients came across country see her. White, colored alike. People told cases hopeless, misdiagnosed, mistreated. Heard whispers colored woman doctor see what others couldn't. Saved thousands lives. Trained dozens young physicians, passing not just medical knowledge, but understanding brilliance came all colors, genders. Mind's capacity learning, healing not determined body housing, never forgot done to her. Months asylum, experiments, pain, terror locked away, because gifts frightened men couldn't accept represented. Carried memories rest life. Perfect recall couldn't forget even forgetting merciful. But never let memories define. Being victim, became survivor. Then became something more. Healer, teacher, pioneer opening doors never fully closed again. Grace Adams lived long enough see daughter become everything dreamed. Died 1923, age 60, Bella bedside. Last words, same first words, Whitfield years ago. Take care, my baby. Promise take care. Mama. Bella said, holding mother's hand. Life slipped. Not baby anymore. Doctor. Can take care myself. Still my baby. Always my baby. Made me so proud. So proud. James Whitfield died 5 years earlier, 1918, great influenza pandemic. Caught disease treating patients, refusing stop working, even health failed. Bella with him end too. Two great champions. Mother fought, physician believed. Both gone. But legacy lived, every patient treated, every life saved, every young physician learned example, medicine healing people, not judging. Dr. Isabella Grace Adams died March 15, 1952, age 68. Practiced medicine until 2 weeks before death. Seeing patients, small clinic established Philadelphia's colored neighborhood. Clinic provided care regardless ability, pay. Treated poor. Forgotten, same skill, attention given anyone. Obituary appeared Philadelphia Inquirer. Same newspaper ignored story 60 years earlier. Called pioneer American medicine, diagnostician extraordinary gifts. Woman overcame impossible obstacles, become one most respected physician's generation. Not mentioned, locked asylum age 9, experimented on man believing existence impossibility. Not mentioned trial destroying man, testimony sent prison. Not mentioned years fighting, hiding, struggling against world wanted less. But Bella not minded omissions. Never wanted remembered done to her. Wanted remembered done, lives saved, physicians trained, doors opened. Proof provided through simple fact existence, achievement lies told colored people, lies, always lies, always lies. End, that revenge, not trial, though trial mattered. Not Webb's imprisonment, though imprisonment just. Revenge living, succeeding, becoming so undeniably excellent, what did no one dismissed, explain away, pretend didn't exist. Made them see, acknowledge. Doing, made harder refuse see. Next Bella Adams, next. Some people break world tearing down. Bella Adams broke proving wrong. So what take Bella Adams's story? What life mean today? More century after telegram arrived Philadelphia General Hospital describing colored girl. See, what trained physicians couldn't. Maybe lesson simple. World full extraordinary minds, ordinary bodies. Gifts wrap packages, prejudice teaches discard without opening. Every time assume someone can't do something, because look, come from, category placed, risk throwing away exactly brilliance humanity desperately needs. Maybe lesson harder. Fighting injustice requires more than right. Bella right abilities, right value, right humanity. But right not enough. Had survive first, endure things break most people, play long game, gather evidence, build alliances, wait moment truth finally heard. Justice not automatic, fought, bled, sometimes waited across years suffering. Maybe lesson this, some people born change world fight every step. Bella Adams not ask extraordinary, not choose born mind remember everything, see patterns others couldn't, understand medicine levels should impossible. Gift given. With came burden never sought. Burden proof comfortable lies people told false. Burden threatening entire society structure, built assumption inferiority. World punished that. Locked away, tried break, nearly succeeded, but survived anyway, persisted anyway, became capable anyway. Doing, made possible others follow. That's what heroes do. Not myth. Legend heroes slay dragons, magical swords. Real heroes. Face systems designed destroy, refuse destroyed. Keep fighting when fighting hopeless. Prove through existence limits, placed human potential artificial, arbitrary, wrong. Bella Adams, 9 diagnosed heart attack, trained physician missed. 9 told abilities impossible skin color. 9 locked asylum crime too brilliant. 68 died. Spent entire adult life proving people tried destroy wrong everything mattered. Not tragedy. Triumph. Triumph cost more should, required more suffering any person endure, took longer justice demanded. But triumph nonetheless, because Bella Adams got only revenge truly matters. 1. One living, succeeding, becoming undeniable. Men tried stop remembered only villain's story. Footnotes history woman changed world refusing less. If stayed through Bella's story. Discovery. Examination, asylum, trial, decades healing followed. Ask something. How many other Bella Adams out there now? How many extraordinary minds dismissed because come packages prejudice teaches ignore? How many potential doctors, scientists, artists, leaders told can't, shouldn't, not allowed? What going do? Because Bella Adams proved limits placed human potential lies, but couldn't prove alone. Needed mother fought, physician believed, journalist told story, community demanded justice. Needed people willing see when world wanted invisible. Needed allies understood fight their fight. Injustice anywhere threatens justice everywhere. All rise fall together. So challenge be that ally someone. Look extraordinary places others refuse look. Question assumptions taught about deserves opportunity, doesn't. Fight Bella Adams' own time. Brilliant minds locked away prisons prejudice, poverty, institutional indifference. Because that's honor legacy. Not just remembering story, but continuing work. Refusing accept any child's potential limited skin color, birth circumstances. Building world next Bella Adams doesn't spend half-life fighting right, exist before start work born due. Bella Adams deserved better world gave, deserved recognized immediately, trained properly, celebrated openly. Deserved childhood-free asylums, experiments, terror. Deserved become Dr. 20, one without overcoming obstacles never existed. But didn't get deserved. Got fought. More less. More because earned every achievement through struggle, making victories meaningful ways easy success never be. Less because no amount later success fully compensate, suffering never inflicted first. Can't go back give Bella Adams life deserved, but work toward future children like her get life. Where extraordinary minds nurtured instead suppressed. Skin color doesn't determine gifts celebrated feared. No one prove humanity surviving attempts destroy. That's world Bella Adams fought, proved possible existing, succeeding despite everything designed fail. Building world, our job now. That's how make story matter. How make sure didn't suffer nothing. This story Isabella Grace Adams. Girl brown eyes saw what no one else see. Child tried break because brilliance threatened comfortable lives. Woman became healer, teacher, pioneer. Proof limits placed human potential exactly that. Limits placed, not limits exist nature. Truth, fundamental structure human beings become. Remember, learn, go find extraordinary minds world still trying hide.